King, Taylor King, Taylor King, Taylor King.
Welcome everybody. I guess you could say this is like the second to last when it comes to the Netflix shows and stuff. We're with me and Sam are here to do a little quick review of Punisher season 2, much like we did Iron Fist season 2 and Daredevil season 3. So I guess for you, Sam, what was your expectations going into this season? I guess considering, because I never heard your thoughts on season 1. Actually, that's the funny thing about it.
Honestly, season 1 was one of my favorite of any of the Marvel Netflix shows. I think it was like in my top 3. Honestly, I thought that the ending was very satisfying. I think it was just raw. It was probably the roughest that Netflix had ever gone to me. And I just loved the first season. I think the expectations that I had was I wanted Billy Russo to be Jigsaw. I wanted, Frank to really embrace being the Punisher. I wanted the violence to not diminish but intensify. And technically, some of those things definitely did happen in different ways, though, that I didn't personally expect. And I will let you guys know that I haven't seen all of it. I'm still finishing up certain episodes, but from everything I've seen, I wasn't let down. I very much so was just kind of taken back how they were able to psychologically shift certain things like a jigsaw puzzle, and at the same exact time really platform Frank to be the cemented Punisher that we know him to be, or at least that's how it's looking anyway.
Yeah, because season 1 I think it shocked everybody because there's an expectation about the Punisher where it's like, oh, how can you do a Punisher series with him being violent? And season 1 showed it with kind of focusing on Frank post Daredevil season 2, where he's dealing with his past, and they intertwined it with his friend kind of helping out veterans and the PTSD aspect of everything. So with season 2, the basic premise of it is we kind of get the fallout from season 1. Frank is basically kind of traveling on the road, trying to figure things out for himself. Billy is alive. He's, I guess you could say, he's getting psychiatric help because he, much like Frank in season 1, is a broken man.
Yep.
And Frank messing him up the way he did, kind of put him in this headspace, so to speak, where he's trying to figure things out and stuff, because he doesn't know at the outset that Frank is the one that did it. The way Frank left him, he's just shattered.
Yep.
We also got another guy, John Pilgrim, who is this kind of right-wingish religious dude that has an air of mystery to him. I'm not going to spoil it too much about his background, but he has an air of mystery to him that ties into a girl that Frank runs across and such. And what you end up getting, much like season 1, is a lot of political maneuvering and a lot of kind of twists and turns and such. And it kind of brings the Punisher character back to the fold. Like, you take him out the battle, now he's kind of like going back into the swing of things and stuff. So I mean, that's the general gist of these 13 episodes, and I can probably say this is probably like it's like Daredevil and Punisher seems to work the 13 episodes pretty well. For you, I mean, at least for season 1, did that 13 episode stretch work for you, or did you think it should have been like 10, like Iron Fist?
I think that this was perfect. I think that this was the perfect amount of numbers in terms of the first season. Yes. I think that Daredevil, the funny thing about Daredevil is so engaging and enthralling that it was like, I mean, it just didn't stop. So I was like fine with it being, over 13.
Yeah.
Iron Fist, I think it serviced it better to have it like less, for sure. So they can kind of keep things tight.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure that this season is going to be the same that way in terms of the episode amount. It was hard to watch this, man, because I'm sitting there watching. I'm like, this might be the very last time I actually see John Bernthal as the Punisher. Like,
yeah,
unless
that's the sad part. It's like the specter of the show. Because for those that don't know, if this is your first time listening to this and stuff, cool. Welcome. If you're watching this, just heads up. If you're watching this on YouTube, this is just audio, and it's going to be a slideshow thing because I'm actually working to get a better camera so we can do the kind of visual stuff. Because I'm trying to be like JVS over here, doing all this stuff. But yeah, for those that don't know, Netflix basically has canceled the Punisher and a lot of the Marvel hero stuff, and contrary to what people want to sit there and say, a lot of it, majority of it is because Disney streaming service. Now,
yep.
The person that's in charge of Disney and stuff has left it up in the air that we could return to these characters and stuff. They said as much. Now, we don't know whether it's going to be on a Disney platform. It could be on Hulu. If you've been watching Runaway Season 2, I suggest you watch that. So, it could be on that level with that. They definitely left it up in the air on what they could possibly do with it. I think they could probably do a ton of things with these characters, but we'll see. But I can definitely tell you, I do agree in the fact that the specter of, this show is going to get canceled kind of hangs over the series a little bit. It didn't hurt it for me, but I can see how somebody could go into the series and kind of like, well, it's going to get canceled. What does it all matter? And I think much like season 1, they kind of, this isn't a spoiling or anything like that. Much like season 1, they do tie it up by the end of it in a way that's like another self-contained kind of Punisher story. Much like a comic book. I could say Punisher, much like Daredevil, runs itself as a comic book type of show very well.
Yeah.
It lends itself and stuff. But I mean, for you, for what you've seen so far, I mean, 6 episodes, 7 episodes in?
Yeah, 6 episodes. I mean, dude, it's great, man. John Pilgrim, like, I think it was a moment where he was whipping himself. He took off his shirt, and I was like, yo, what the heck? Who is this man? And, I mean, I knew that, when I was talking with my wife about it, it was like, she said something that I thought was really key, is that Frank is going to be dealing with somebody that is as passionate and insane as he is. Mm-hmm. And the passion that John Pilgrim has is there. Like, the ambition, the passion, the drive, like, even more so than Frank, because he has stuff to lose. Stuff that he's working towards, even if he's being used, in my personal opinion. But everything about what they're doing with your boy Russo, psychologically, I loved it. I love every bit of it because it lets the guy that's the actor stretch. Whereas first season, really, John Bernthal had opportunity to stretch and flex. But this time around, it's more so the Russo character that's really getting good opportunities.
Oh, yeah. I mean, and that's the thing. You make a good point about the John Pilgrim character, because what I like about him is he has a very silent and kind of unassuming approach to him and such that it just works for the character and stuff. And I think that balances the whole other spectrum of Billy, because, Billy kind of just ends up going nuts and going crazy and such. And it really kind of puts a perspective on how we see these characters and stuff, because what ends up happening with Frank is that he runs across one of these girls who essentially basically needs his help in trying to figure out things, and John Pilgrim essentially is the one that kind of runs amok of him and such. He has, like I said, he has a very unassuming nature to him, and I think it worked. What was funny about like this whole series and stuff is just, John Bernthal is Punisher. Like, you really sell it on. He really sells the whole aspect of Frank Castle. And I mean, for you, where does he? I mean, considering this is the final season for Punisher on Netflix, where does he rank in terms of Punishers for you, from what you've seen so far? Whether you count the movies and this.
It's funny. I think that he's my number one. For a long time, it was Thomas Jane. Dolph Lundgren, he did a really good job, of course, being the first. But like Thomas Jane,
did you watch the old one?
A long time ago.
Oh, okay. I thought you might have watched it for prep for season 1 or something.
Nah, but I loved everything about the one with Thomas Jane. Like I just fell in love with it, even though it's cheesy or some, whatever stuff with John Travolta. Like for the most part, it was a really good film.
Yeah.
But then when John Bernthal showed up in season 2 of Daredevil, like I was like, he already won me over. Like it was like lines that he left was like still quotable to this day.
Oh
And I
yeah.
think he just owned it, man. Like I honestly, the thing is that he could easily fit in the MCU. Like he could cameo in any of those movies, and I would believe that this man exists within the confines of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. And I
Yeah.
think that he just owns the role, man, in every way.
Yeah. What did you think of? I mean, some of the action that you've seen in it so far, for you?
Ooh, the action is great. The action is great. I think the more interesting thing is that I love that Billy Russo is so much more unpredictable. Like
Yes.
what he's capable of, and
Hmm.
it's just scary. It's scary and menacing. Like, he doesn't. I mean, he doesn't look like the Jigsaw that you would think.
Yeah.
But he very much so mentally and emotionally is nailing it. You know what I'm saying? Like he is there. But there's this one fight scene that I thought was really dope. Um, it wasn't as violent as some of the other ones in the first 2 episodes, but I think it was like the 4th or 5th episode when it was in a gym, a
Yeah.
Russian gym. Yo, like I was like, Frank is nuts. I loved it. I love the fight choreography. It's always just raw. You know what I'm saying? But there's so many different fights that just amazing. I think when he was in the sheriff station,
Yeah.
and they were like, "Look, let him go," and he just murked him.
Yeah,
And I was
and that was great because I mean his Frank's interaction with a lot of people in this series is great because his interaction early in the season where they're talking to the sheriff, I thought it was great because in a situation like that it could go any way because the sheriff could have easily been a bit of a pain in the butt and been like, nah, we're not going to use you. And I like how they both, like, he knew, like, oh, yeah, he's clearly, you're a jarhead. I can use you. And he trusted Frank, and you got that trust out of it and stuff. And just to tie into the fact that Frank's deal with the FBI is still on the table,
yep.
you know, um, you got the fact that, like I said, Billy Russo, he's so unpredictable. And it is because of his whole mental state and such when we see him and stuff. Did you now for you when it comes to Jigsaw and stuff? You might as well say it and stuff. Were you expecting it to go like full blown like the comics, or were you satisfied with just the visual look of him and stuff?
I think that at first I was kind of like, man, he's still like a pretty boy, but I think the actor just plays it so well that I'm like, I don't have a problem with it. Not just that, the metaphor behind the mask,
Yeah,
and also, forgot her name, the chick that's his therapist,
yeah,
like their interesting symbiotic relationship was really crazy. At first, for a long time, I was like, where did she come from? But she was on Supergirl. She played the cop that was Kara's sister's girlfriend or fiance.
yeah. Early in the season, yeah,
Yeah, but it's like I don't know. He's such an interest. He's more interesting than he was in the first season. First season, the back end of first season, he was going ham. But this season, it's like I'm like waiting. I'm counting the moment when he realizes what Frank did, and he kind of gets some semblance of, oh wow. I don't know. I dread that moment because right now he's in technically a better place than he was in the first season, but not. Because when everything comes crashing down, I don't know what he's going to be capable of.
yeah. I mean, and to be honest with you, that's what also makes John Pilgrim threatening as well with because his character is interesting in the fact that like he gives people an out because he himself doesn't want to kill anybody unless he has to. And I think that's actually great because there's a line that he says in the fact that, look, I used to be a certain way and I don't want to be that way. So now, like, yo, tell me the truth. Please be truthful. And I like how his whole thing is kind of like he's like Frank a little bit. In fact, that he has a bit of a past and he doesn't want to be that anymore, but he still has that instinct with him as well. The girl, I think what was great about her is now I don't know if you remember if you read any of the Punisher comics when his character went to the West Coast.
Mm-hmm.
And he had that cop lady as kind of like a sidekick and stuff. I thought it was interesting with Homegirl and the girl that he had this season and stuff. Was it Sarah? No, not Sarah.
Amy.
Amy. I thought it was interesting with her in the fact that she was kind of like a surrogate daughter to him.
Yeah.
And he really
definitely was.
And he did care about her a lot and stuff. You know, so yeah. And even her background is kind of like, she's coming from a certain spot of well-meaning, but she's learning her lesson over the course of the series as well. You also got Karen comes back, but I'm not gonna. She's back. That's a little kind of like connection, so to speak, to Punisher and the whole worldwide thing, and she plays her little role and stuff. It's not as extensive as season 1, but it plays a role and stuff. You got a homegirl from the FBI. What's her face? Dinah.
Is it Dinah?
Yeah, Dinah. She's back, and she, if there's a theme that I kind of caught on with this season is the fact that everybody is kind of working through their issues and working through kind of like their demons. Because Dinah, her character, she's working through her issues and the fact that her and Billy had that relationship in season 1, and it went the way it went. And she's struggling with, like, why do I feel bad? How come Frank didn't kill him? And what do I have to do to sit there and get past this kind of, like, mental state, so to speak? And I thought she had a pretty great kind of, like, character arc and stuff so far. I mean, so from you, like, your perspective, I guess, on that whole scenario with her.
So I think two different things with the girl and with Zidane. Like the beginnings of this season, I was like, man, these characters are so annoying. Like Zidane last season was very annoying to me until the very end, and then she kind of stepped up. And then it was like this season, I was like, okay, look, you already know what's the deal here. Like, get Frank on your side, do what you need to do, don't lie. Like there was one moment where the police captain, confronted her, and she just kind of threw him to the side. I'm like, you're doing the same stuff you did the first season. But Zidane is a very complicated and very intricate character. Like when she went to Curtis at that meeting or whatever and just kind of broke down, I was like, she's messed up. Like she is mentally and physically messed up and broken. Just as broken as Russo is. And same thing happened with the girl. Like the girl, the first 3 episodes, I was like, she's such a liar. Like she's annoying. But then you find out, yeah, and you find out like what's her deal, and it's very interesting how they kind of turn those characters around for me personally. So I like Zidane a little bit more this season than I did the first season. And the girl, she's kind of becoming like a small favorite. Like I love her interactions with Frank. I really
Yeah. And but yeah, it's like I said, overall, much like the first season, they do a great job. I think the greatest thing that they did with this show is that they kind of went very kind of like character study on all these characters and stuff, whether it's Dino, whether it's Amy, whether it's Frank, whether it's Billy. Curtis, I think the only person that didn't really, and it's not a bad thing, is that Curtis was a support character, and it didn't feel as though he was necessarily going through things because he's still kind of picking up the pieces from the first season and still helping out his fellow veterans and stuff. And I felt he was actually a pretty good addition, kind of a picking up from the first season as well. So it's definitely a good character piece on everything, and the action when it hits, it hits like straight up across the board. So I definitely give it up if they're gonna go out swinging. This is definitely a way to go out swinging and stuff. Which to me, I'm looking at Jessica Jones season 3 like how can you follow that up? Considering Jessica Jones season 2 kind of faltered, so I'm kind of looking to see how hard they're gonna go with season 3 of Jessica Jones.
Look, all they got to do with Jessica Jones season 3 is bring your boy Purple Man back as a Purple Man. Like, bring David Tennant back, make him purple, let him just rule all over everything. Give us the Wildcat, the real Wildcat, and just like don't hold back, man. Like, give us Luke, put Luke up in there. If they give us Luke, David Tennant, and the Wildcat, that's not like the worst character in the world, and Trish, like the Wildcat.
Yeah.
I think that they'll be fine because that was the biggest thing. Like Luke was a part of season 1. Like
Yeah.
the momentum to bring her to Wildcat was great, and David Tennant is one of the best villains in the MCU in general. Like he was just great. So.
But yeah, that's it for our little Punisher thing. You know, because trust me, we both probably can go deep on spoilers, but I feel you as guy, people are going to be satisfied. 'Cause I'll say this as some, you know, I've seen all 13 episodes. I know Sam is halfway through it. They do a good job of keeping you kind of, kind of wanting to come back through each episode. That's which I can say that's probably a bit good thing compared to the first season, because I understand people's hangups with the first season and that there were certain episodes that kind of just lingered a little bit, but this one, after the episode, you're like, okay, I can't wait to see the next one, and the next one, and the next one, and the next one. So they definitely do a good job on the pacing aspect of things as well. So, but yeah, I guess once it drops and stuff, I mean, you know, hopefully I can get you on for the little spoiler discussion and stuff. Try to work around both of our wacky schedules and stuff.
Yeah, I'm definitely down for that. And the thing about last year and this year, that all the Marvel shows got better. They all actually really got better. Like Iron Fist got 10 times better. Luke Cage, I definitely think was better. Daredevil was the best it's ever been, and this was even better. So I'm like, I don't know, man. I can't believe that Netflix would just be like, oh, I'm dropping these. Something else is going on.
Hey, like I said, they did it. They did it for the reasons of we know.
Yeah.
You know, we need money, and yeah. At the end of the day, it's one of those situations and stuff. And I'm just like, all right, well, hey guys, if you feel the need to sit there and try to cancel these shows because you don't want to compete, I get it. You know, from a business aspect, but yeah. So, but anyways, folks, that is it for our little mini review. So, yeah, definitely be on the lookout for our little spoiler discussion on it. We'll dive in deep, and yeah, if you actually happen to see the show or watch the show, you know, go on ahead and shoot us comments on your thoughts on the show, and you know, hopefully we'll read it on the air by the time we do the spoiler discussion. So, that in mind, we'll catch you guys later. Peace out.
Later, guys.